There is no word for what you are. Not in your language. Not in any language. The concept doesn't exist yet. The year is somewhere around 1500 BC. You are standing in a grain warehouse in ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, and you own more of it than the city around you knows. By modern calculation, you are worth over $1 billion. Except money hasn't fully been invented yet. You own land that runs from the river bend all the way to the salt flats. You own warehouses, cattle, ships, debt. You own the debt of men who owe you harvests, labor, and silence. You are not a king. Kings answer to gods. You don't answer to anyone. You didn't start here. You started as a merchant's son in a mid-sized city. Nothing remarkable. Your father traded cloth and olive oil and died with modest debts. But you watched. That was your first weapon. You watched which warehouses filled before the rains came. You watched which grain dealers were hoarding. You watched which scribes were recording false tallies on behalf of men who paid them extra. You didn't invent anything. You just understood the system better than the people running it. By 22, you had purchased your first parcel of land with borrowed silver. By 28, you owned the man you borrowed it from. Not literally, but when a man owes you enough, the difference stops mattering. At this point in your life, you are still the person your mother raised. You give grain to the temple during drought. You remember the names of your workers' children. When a poor farmer can't make his debt payment, you extend the term rather than take his land. People in the market speak well of you. That matters to you then. It still matters. For now. Here is what nobody knows. Your true wealth is not in your name. By now, through intermediaries, through sealed arrangements, through a network of traders who know your symbol but not your face, you control agricultural land across 4 cities. In one direction, your holdings run 2 days' ride. In another, 3. And none of it is recorded under a name anyone would recognize as yours. This is deliberate, because you understand something most wealthy men of your era don't. Visibility is a liability. Kings tax what they can see. Rivals steal what they can count. Priests demand tribute from men whose names appear on contracts. You are the wealthiest person in the region. Nobody knows. That's the point. Your most trusted scribe is one of 3 people alive who know the full picture. One of the others is your brother. The third is a woman in a city 200 miles away who manages your northern holdings and takes her 10% in silver. No questions. You've thought carefully about what happens if any of them talks. You've made arrangements. You're not proud of them, but you've made them. The governor of your province is a political appointee. His father knew the right people. He is not especially intelligent. He owes you 11 months of grain debt. His predecessor owed you more. That predecessor is no longer in this position. These facts are related. You don't sit at the table because you hold a title. You sit there because the men who hold titles need something from you. This is the moment the change begins. Though you don't notice it as a moment, it feels like clarity. You've simply stopped caring what the room thinks of you. When the governor speaks, you watch his hands. When officials argue over irrigation rights, you already know how it ends because you control the upstream land. You are not angry, not cruel, not even calculating in the way people imagine powerful men to be. You are simply quiet, like a man who knows the answer before the question is asked. A young merchant comes to you after the meeting.
I can repay it.
He is asking for a land loan. He is nervous. He reminds you of yourself at 22. You give him the loan, at a rate that will be difficult to meet. Because difficult isn't impossible, and if he makes it, he's yours. Grateful, loyal, in debt the right amount. And if he doesn't make it, the land is more valuable than the interest. You used to extend those terms. You don't anymore. You tell yourself it's because you learned. What you don't examine is what you learned. The gifts started arriving in your third decade. Figs, fine wool, imported cedar, amphorae of wine from the coast. Then a trusted contact told you the truth. They weren't goodwill gestures. They were bribes, preemptive ones, from men who didn't need anything from you yet, but wanted to be remembered well when they did. The gifts scared you more than any threat ever had. Because fear, you understood. Fear meant someone wanted something specific. These gifts meant something else. That your power had become ambient. That people were afraid of you without a reason. You added 2 more guards that season. You stopped taking meals in the main hall. You began receiving visitors in a smaller room. 1 entrance, 1 exit. A servant you trusted posted outside. Your wife asked you once, quietly, why the compound felt different. You said, "It doesn't." She didn't ask again. That was the answer that stayed with you. There is a drought. It is the 3rd consecutive bad season. People in the outer settlements are selling children into labor contracts to pay grain debts. This is legal. This is normal. This is the world. Your warehouses are full. You bought forward contracts 2 years ago, through intermediaries, quietly. You knew the drought was coming, not from prophecy, but from watching water levels in the northern tributaries and talking to the right travelers. You could release grain at fair price. People would eat. Families would survive the season. They would speak your name the way they spoke your name 20 years ago, with warmth. Instead, you wait. 3 more weeks. Then you release grain at a price only the temple administration and 2 wealthy landowners can afford. And then you offer everyone else a grain for labor contract. Eat now, work for me next season at a fixed rate. By the end of the drought, you have not stolen anything. You have not broken any law. You have not threatened anyone. You have simply expanded. The young man you gave the difficult loan to, the one who reminded you of yourself, he couldn't make the payment. You took the land. He stood in your outer hall for half a morning before your scribe told him you weren't available. You were available. You just didn't want to see his face. It is very late. Everyone else is asleep. You are reviewing a ledger that tracks holdings in 6 cities. The numbers are written in a code only 2 people alive understand. One of them is you. The other is an old scribe who has been with you since the beginning. He left a note at the bottom of the last tablet. Not a number, not a name. Just this. You used to know which column this would have bothered you. You don't check that column anymore. You sit with that for a long time. You think about the young merchant with the difficult loan. You think about the drought families signing labor contracts. You think about your wife, who stopped asking questions and what it cost her to stop. And you realize you are not haunted by what you've become. You are haunted by how little it haunts you. The world you live in has no word for billionaire. It has words for king, for priest, for creditor. None of them are quite right. You are something the language hasn't caught up to yet, something that will take another 3,000 years to name. And the question, the one that follows you from lamp to lamp on these nights, is whether the word, when they finally invent it, will describe the wealth, or the person it made. We invented money to make trade easier. Then we invented debt, then interest, then contracts, then leverage. And somewhere in that sequence, every few generations, a single person figured out where the system bent, and bent it further in their direction. They didn't invent evil. They just stopped needing to pretend they weren't capable of it. You blow out the lamp. The ledger stays on the table. The numbers don't need you to watch them. They're already working,